In the spirit of reconciliation, Court acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australasia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander and First Nation peoples today. I welcome you to this Court webinar. My name is Steve Johnston. I'm the Director of Strategic Procurement at Court. Today we've got a presentation by Anthony and David from Squiz, and they'll be talking on the topic of digital experiences for a COVID normal world. How are higher education providers preparing for the COVID normal? Squiz will share how they are partnering with their higher education clients to deliver engaging digital solutions that solve COVID normal problems. You'll learn more about how their expertise in higher education technology and people is delivering game-changing solutions for a COVID normal world. So without further ado, I'll hand over to, I think we're starting with Anthony.
Excellent, thanks Steve. Yes, thanks very much to Steve and Court for allowing us to come and present to you all today. My name is Anthony Nigro. I'm the General Manager responsible for higher education at Squiz. Just a quick bit of background. I've been with the business for about 11 years and over that time I've had the pleasure of working with our higher education customers. More recently, we've taken a bit of a change in the approach of how we're working with higher education, in the sense that I've now got a global focus to be working specifically on higher education customers, looking at our technology and how we evolve that for our customers, but also how do we get the best for solutions for our customers as well.
Hi everyone, and my name is David Palacios. I'm helping Anthony today, and I lead our digital experience team here at Squiz, and have been in the technology sector for over a decade now, both in higher education and in other industries.
Excellent, thanks David. So today, yes, as Steve mentioned, we're really here to talk about the new world that we're in. We know from a higher education perspective, things have changed a hell of a lot. I know through last year and probably earlier than that, we were seeing some changes around government regulation and trying to understand what that meant for higher education. But I think this year has really come along and changed everything. COVID has changed what is a pretty traditional industry that we're in, and making us change the approach that we're taking to learning, how we work with our students, how we work with our staff. So pretty much everything is on the table for change, and it's a really important time to make sure that we understand the role that digital needs to play for an organization. I personally believe that digital has been an extremely important channel for higher education, both in terms of acquisition, but also student retention. But I think that's even more so amplified now as we really move to a digital first world. So Squiz as an organization, we've always been able to work across an entire university. And what I mean by that is, our solutions have really been there to help recruitment, how do we acquire new students, all the way through to how do we support them and provide them the tools that they need to be successful. We've got this strong content background, which means we're able to highlight and showcase different research across the organization as well. But bringing that all together, we've provided a platform in essence that's allowed a university to manage that experience. How do we consider security? How do we administer such a large breadth of information that we're managing as an organization? In essence, those have really been the core focuses of Squiz as a business. And as we're going through this COVID period, they are still really, really important at the moment. What I'm going to do today is share some stories from our customers that we talked about at our Squiz Summit. So last week we held the summit. It's an annual event that we run where we bring together our customers. Like everyone, we've had to adjust, and we ran the event as an on-demand event with some live components. It was challenging, just as you would probably experience going through open days and everything like that. But what we were able to do is still share some really great customer stories and make sure that we're able to announce some really good capabilities and features that are going to help our customers. What I'm going to do is just take you through some of those case studies today. I'm doing a shorter version. Each of these case studies will be available as a video that we'll share after the event. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask through the Q&A panel. But I'm happy to give as much detail through the call as well, and share the videos. The first The first customer story that we had was hosted by Monash University. So both Josh Teichman and Mike Oromenko shared some stories of COVID and what it means to Monash University. The project in Spotlight, though, what we talked about was the approach that they needed to take to create a personal study plan for students that were potentially overseas or unsure of whether or not they were going to be able to kick off studying when COVID hit in. So they had a couple of goals for what they were looking to achieve. So the first was it needed to be student focused. We're very much at a time where students were very unsure around what they were going to do. So they needed to make sure that whatever they were sending in terms of comms and interfaces were going to be extremely easy to use, clear, and allow them to, I guess, communicate effectively what they need to do. Obviously, it needed to be secure. And the final goal that they wanted to maintain was that all the data needed to be managed in their Salesforce system. So they wanted to ensure no data loss. They wanted everything that they had learned would go back into that Salesforce system. So this is what the interface looked like. So they were able to leverage brand elements that existed in their design system within Squiz Matrix, as well as bring together rich data. So this is very specific, a personal plan that was created for each student. It had their subject details, some access information, and then they were able to go through and interact with that. So they were either able to confirm or trigger a conversation. So as an interface, it's extremely clear and concise. It was very user-focused. They eliminated anything that wasn't going to provide benefit to the student. And from looking at it, it was a very good, compelling experience. The time frame that they had to execute this was quite short. They started the process and looked to deliver within a 1 week time frame. So Mike, in his presentation, did a really good job describing the agile nature in which they worked and how they made decisions to allow them to stick to their goals. But what we know is this experience, as simple as it looks, this one page with rich personalized data, it looks very, very easy. Getting to this process in 1 week obviously needs to consider the experience for the administration staff that are working behind the scenes. What does it look like from the email journey that they're providing to the student? And then how are they processing this data? So this diagram, I'm not expecting you to read all the detail, but in essence, it shows some of the internal processes that they had to establish and run through. Some of them were automated if it provided a benefit. Others were just run as manual processes. The green represents the interface, the digital interface that the students were interacting with. And then the blue represents their email nurturing or the email marketing that we're doing around that and where we were storing data into Salesforce. So this shows that, it's about using the different technology, processes that you've got to be able to pull together an experience like this, as rich as it was. The building blocks that were part of that experience. So Squiz Matrix was there for, I guess, authoring the content and bringing together the design elements. So they've got a design system that's run by Squiz Matrix. They were able to use that to get the interfaces up quickly and easily. We already had an integration with Okta, so single sign-on was able to be maintained. So that really covered the security aspect that they wanted to include. Obviously, we integrated with Salesforce, or Salesforce was fed information back from the student interaction. And the last piece of the puzzle was a new product that we used with Monash. It's our Squiz data store. So it's a serverless data store that enables us to take bulk loads of information, like course data, like personal information, store it in a serverless approach, which meant that on the front end, we can use that and assemble that very personalized experience. So that was a 1 week time frame. By the end of that week, they were able to test that with a small sample size, and then they were able to roll it out more broadly to a lot of different students. So this experience allowed them to engage with students in a really considered personal manner and made sure that people had confidence that they could come back to study. The second case study that was talked through was the transformation that the University of Tasmania is under. So Heath Nicholson ran through the approach that they've been taking around digital transformation. It's something that we've been partnering on with them. I think the complexity for University of Tasmania is obviously all this change is happening while we're going through this COVID situation. So it's probably been an opportunity where they've been able to understand where have they been in the past, what does COVID mean to them as an organization, how they need to change. And then as we're going through this transformation process, they can really incorporate those approaches to make sure that they're setting themselves up for future success and enabling them to grow. The first component of their transformation journey was moving them from a self-hosted instance of Matrix that they were administering internally through to our cloud environment. So there was a couple of different motives for them moving into our cloud. So one of them was to move into a more standardized, more supportable environment. So ensuring that they were able to sort of relinquish some of the burden of managing, systems and architecture, and move into what is a controlled environment. The other component really was performance. So just by moving their instance into the Squiz cloud without changing any of the front-end implementation, they were able to see a 60% improvement on page load time for Australian visitors and a 20% improvement for international visitors. So that has really been a cornerstone to enabling them to transform, and getting a performance benefit as part of that is generally a good thing. The digital transformation process that we're operating together, it is really focused on content and creating personal journeys for students. So as I mentioned, they're taking a lot of the learnings that we're seeing through COVID, and they're making sure that they're able to consider those, and they're crafting really good experiences for their students and for their researchers and their staff. The process is still underway, so they're looking at launching sort of phase one of that transformation in December. So very much stay tuned in to see what that looks like when they're going to launch that. The third part of the transformation is really about modernizing the team approaches they were taking. So with the upgrade to the Squiz cloud, and with the introduction of some tools and some new or more modern front-end web development technologies, we've been able to show them just a way to make sure that they're going to have future proofing within their environment, and that the team is going to be upskilled based on learnings that they've made, as well as learnings that we've made through the higher education sector, setting that team up for long-term success. So the transformation is not going to be a project. In essence, it's going to allow it to continue on into the future. And the third case study that we showcased was Griffith University. So Trent talked about their approach that they're taking with digital, that's been, I guess, a long-term journey, and it's suited them through this COVID period. It's about how they take a personalized approach through their website, through their portals, and ensure they're providing the right information to the right people all the time. So I guess it started with them talking through all the different possible combinations. So they've worked out that there was 23,000 possible combinations or permutations that a student can take when they're in this consideration phase, when they're looking into what or where should they study as a university. So that's a lot of different variation that you can find, whether it's locations, whether it's courses, whether it's, where do I come from? Am I a high school leaver? There's a lot of different variation there. So the approach that they're taking is that they're making sure that without making too many assertions around who the user is, they're allowing them to filter down on some of the preferences and content and craft a personalized experience. So what we're looking at in these two pages, this is the study page at Griffith. On the left-hand side, I've been able to drill down, and I am a high school leaver, and I'm a domestic student. So what you'll see, the imagery, some of the tags, some of the content and calls to action are very much geared towards a higher education, high school student. And on the right-hand side, what we can see is we've got a postgraduate student that's international, and very much the content, once again, is geared towards that journey and enabling them to take the correct next step based on some preferences that they've set. The next thing they talked about on their personalized journey is really looking at some of the points that they could see students drop out through either an enrollment process or even later on through study. So what they've got is a My Orientation planner. So in essence, it's a personalized plan for students, for them to be able to come in, see what are the steps for them to do to be able to accept their offer and actually get enrolled. So this is typically a process where people do change their mind. They're not really sure what the next steps are. In essence, by providing this personalized plan, it's helping the student navigate what is a big transition in their life. What they're also finding is that there's a lot of data that they're able to pull out from these interactions that help them understand where might future risks for students exist around dropout or anything like that as well. The final step that they talked about was the approach to student portal. So around 2015, together we launched the My Griffith portal that's shown on the left-hand side. At the time, it was integrating with 22 different backend systems and really enabled a student to be able to get most of their needs all in one place. Through user feedback and just understanding that the market has changed, through the end of last year, there was another project to get to version 2.0, and that's shown by the design on the right-hand side. What you've seen, it's a much richer experience. There's deeper integrations with Office 365, so that the ability to have your emails, shown through and access to that information, deeper links through to their schedule and their course or learning management system, as well as even applications like the parking permits, which can be pretty complex to navigate through. So they were going to launch this through the earlier parts of the year. But unfortunately, due to COVID, they had to delay that, and they launched this in August of this year. The experience is bringing together all the information that a student will need in one place, and they're finding that it's providing a lot of benefit to students. Specifically during this COVID period, now they know that they've got one portal that they can centralize all their communication for. So in essence, a one-stop shop to make sure that they can send the right messages to the right students to help them through this period. So as I mentioned, that was a really quick run through, and I probably haven't done it as much justice as what the presenters did for our summit. But we will be sharing around those videos for you, and you can get access to them and have a deeper look into the stories there. I think those are really just a couple of local stories that we've been able to pull out from our customers and showcase. But our story with higher education is really part of the origin of the business. So right now we are currently driving over 130 different digital experiences for for universities. So that's quite a rich history. We've been a business in operation for around 21 years, and some of our customers do date back to that period. As much as that tenure doesn't mean that we've got a right to be lazy in the industry. In essence, we've been using that as a catalyst for our transformations into the future. So for some of you that are on the call, you maybe are familiar with Squiz in some realm, but I think this diagram here sums up our experience. So some of you know us previously as the CMS provider or the search provider with Funnelback. But in essence, what we've been doing is focusing on building out more in our technical or in our platform so that you can actually craft better digital experiences. So we've transitioned from a search and CMS business through to a DXP, so a digital experience platform. What I'm going to do is hand over to Dave, and he's going to be talking you through, I guess, that journey and what our digital experience platform looks like.
Yeah, thanks, Anthony, and really insightful. Hopefully, the group here saw some of the transformation that our clients have gone through, which is quite large, right, during the COVID normal pandemic. And really, what Anthony was alluding there to was around transformation, and we underwent quite a large transformation over the last 18 months to really transition from that information age to an experience age, right? And what does that actually mean? I think it means, how do you use the technologies that you have and the expertise that you have as higher education technical leaders to provide much more tailored experiences. And so we looked at our product suite at that time and realized that a revamp was needed. We needed to move away from delivering purely informational solutions, content management, and enterprise search, but build upon that foundation to drive better experiences and enable our clients to provide those experiences. So we went through a journey we looked at our platform, we looked at our clients, we looked at prospective clients, we talked to thought leadership and Gartner and other organizations. And what we found was, organizations that were early to jump on the digital experience platform train had sort of been, had looked at it as a step on the journey. And that step required them to sort of buy the all-encompassing solution, right? That had marketing automation, personalized user journeys, some of those solutions. And what we found was a lot of those organizations that had embarked on that journey had started to find that there was a lot of functionality in the platform that they had, but where they were struggling was this right-hand corner that Gartner realized, which was that 85% of the effort and cost and actually delivering the experiences and the goals around experiences was around integration. And so really when we did our scan and our research, we really honed in on that problem and said, look, we have an enterprise grade content management solution. We have, an awesome enterprise search suite that unis are using and have been using for over 2 decades. But how do we solve this next problem that's becoming ever more present in our prospects and our clients? And that's really when we looked at the solutions and said, okay, let's go work on our research and development teams. Let's go and solve that problem. And so we said, yep, we have a great content management system called Squiz Matrix, used in a number of organizations here, both in Australia, the US, and the UK, and in higher education organizations. But that could be better. Let's work on that. Let's make that a much more user-friendly solution for content editors. On the search front, Squiz believes as an organization that search is absolutely paramount to drive better experiences. And instead of sort of working with our clients to go out and have to get a solution, a third-party solution, and integrate that into their content management system, we provide our own, which is called Squiz Funnelback. So we're really focused on building that solution and making it quite powerful. And then, as Anthony mentioned in that Monash example, how do we have a repository of experience data? How do we have a repository for that so that technical users, marketers can use that data to provide more intuitive experiences? And so that allowed us to really focus in and build what we call Squiz Data Store, which was had early access a year ago, but now we've made a major revamp of that, and again announced that last week at our user conference. And the last piece here that was absolutely pointed at that 85% problem, which was how do we integrate these tools, was Squiz Connect. So Squiz Connect is our integration platform. I know you guys are probably thinking, well, we already have one of those, Dave. Why do we need another one? But I'll dive into that a little bit deeper in some of my later slides. But that makes up really the Squiz experience solution. And over those 18 months, we really focused on delivering, again, Data Store, Connect, and revamping everything that we previously had. And again, as I mentioned, Squiz Data Store is all about providing much more tailored experiences, right? So how can you take, your website traffic data, how can you mesh that with data from another application, put that in one place, and then begin to have a much more focused view of who your people that are visiting your experiences are, but also start to tailor those experiences to them. We also looked at some of the other applications that we had. And again, this is all with the focus of experience, right? And Anthony, if you want to go to the next slide. And we said, well, we really do need an integration platform to solve that 85% problem. And what we found was, a lot of our prospects and clients have integration platforms and use them to integrate, applications to other applications within their ecosystem. But what we found was there wasn't really a solution out there tailor-made for digital experiences, right? So how do I bring together data from my data store, data from a third-party application like Salesforce, and start to bring that all together to provide a very intuitive experience to my customers? And so it's really around solving that last mile problem with Squiz Connect, and why we really focused on delivering that. And that was announced last week at our summit. We have some early adopter customers on that are getting tons of value. But again, it's all around that last mile problem around how do I integrate applications in my ecosystem data to then provide a better experience for customers. And I won't talk too much about Funnelback because I think that's a great solution, but I did want to talk briefly around Squiz Matrix, which is our content management system. And I mentioned our focus there was to provide a much more intuitive user experience, especially for content editors, people that may not have a technical background. And we did a major revamp of that solution to do just that. So still provide the flexibility and the openness and the speed that Matrix has always had, but then do that in a much more easy to use way. And we announced that update again last week at our Squiz Summit. But as they say in a lot of American infomercial, but wait, there's more. Not only did we announce sort of new products, a new kind of go-to-market strategy at our summit last week, but we did announce 2 other critical components that we believe are really helping higher education clients. One of those is the Squiz Experience Cloud, which is actually a console to access each and every one of these applications, easily from one console. But not only that, be able to manage both your private cloud experiences. So Squiz offers a dedicated hosting private cloud. And we also launched a Squiz software as a service solution. So the Squiz Experience Cloud allows you to manage your dedicated environments, your SaaS environments, and your applications all in one intuitive experience. And again, that's to give technical users, marketing users, real visibility as to what's actually running their digital experience platform in that ecosystem. The last 2 things I'll touch upon here around the product solution suite is our digital experience applications. So we actually went about building applications on top of the digital experience platform. One of those is Squiz Edify, which is our student experience. And we launched that in the US a couple months ago. And also Squiz Workplace, which is our employee engagement experience. And those sit on top of our Squiz Experience Cloud. So I hope the group can see that there's been a lot of effort, a lot of research and development that's gone into Squiz. No longer are we, just the information DXP, but we've definitely transitioned into a pure digital experience platform that is focused around being open, so integrating to the applications that you already have, whether that be CRM or ERP, having those be the sources of truth, but leveraging that data, giving you speed to be out to market to build really amazing experiences, and being integrated at the end of the day. So hopefully, from the case studies, I know we're living in the new normal. I think that the theme of today is, what is the new normal? Well, the new normal is changing literally every day. For those of us that are in Melbourne, I'm sure things are changing quickly, hopefully, for the better with our lowering of cases. But what you've seen is, we've allowed or given our clients a platform to be able to quickly adapt to the new normal, to be flexible, and to deliver those experiences at speed. So although we're living in a new COVID normal and things are changing rapidly, our focus is to continue to provide and give our clients, to see some success in their organizations and be that platform that enables them to do that. So I'll wrap up here sort of briefly on sort of why Squiz, why some of our clients, based on their feedback, work with us. I think, it's definitely about our position to support their success. Not only are we a technology vendor, but we do, provide the individuals and the talent internally to execute and support our customers to deliver those experiences. We are a local So I think especially during this COVID normal, just the access to consultants, the access to our product teams here in Australia was a big value add for a lot of those organizations. And lastly is just our capability as a vendor, right? So very few folks know we're Gartner rated. We're on the DXP Magic Quadrant. So I think if you wrap all those things up, the people capability, the capability, the solution set, and being local, I think organizations tend to lean to us to help them deliver some of these experiences and navigate this new COVID normal.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. And I think that to that point, bringing it all together for the higher education industry, I think, all these capabilities that you've talked about. So whether it's, data store, being able to, understand what users are doing and how we can use that data, and, something like Squiz Connect, I think these are all those critical capabilities to move from, information-based websites to really strong service-focused transactions. So that's really the content that we wanted to go through for today. I'm not sure, Steve, if there's any questions that you wanted to run through.
Just excuse me while I fumble with the mute button. There's no questions right now, but we're happy to take any if they come through. None coming. That's okay. Look, we're happy to take questions offline as well. So if we've missed something, please feel free to reach out to Anthony, myself, David, etc.
Yep.
The recording will be made available and published later this afternoon. And I think we'll give people some time back if that's okay.
Yep, and thanks, Steve, for having us. And absolutely, we'll send some of the recordings of the case studies as well. So we'll share those with the group.
If you can send them through to me,
Okay.
I'll put them up on our webinar site as well, along with all the materials for this event today.
Okay, perfect. We'll send those through then, so the team can watch the videos on the case studies.
Thank you. Okay.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
All right, Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.